What is up? Oh man, I have missed you guys so much. I haven't done a video in over a week. I've been so busy. Organizing Utah Magic and just doing so much stuff. But I'm so happy I'm back and I missed you guys and I can't wait to talk about. I have so much to talk about, but I'm trying to do these videos shorter. I don't want to talk for 45 minutes. So let's just get right into it, right? So I played in States, didn't top 8, didn't win. Big bummer. But I've been playing a lot of Standard, and I think I have some really good deck ideas. And I want to kind of go through my progression. I need to drink some Dr. Pepper. But my progression of how of the decks I'm playing in Standard. Ooh, and kind of how I move from one to the other. You notice I'm not wearing my Game Grid shirt. It's in the washer. Every now and then you have to clean them. Sorry guys. So the beard is getting ridiculous. I'm gonna like shave it. I'm gonna shave like right here, like all that back, shave that away, and like trim it down and trim this away and make myself look presentable. Because I actually went on a date over the weekend with a girl, and it was awesome. But shave. Okay, so let's talk about Standard, right? So the day before States, so the week before States, I wrote that article. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm writing articles on the Game Grid site, playgamegrid.com, right there. And it's going great. And I love writing articles on there. It's really nice to be able to get my thoughts out and then like read over it and kind of edit and correct and put up deck lists. And anyway, so I've been kind of working on this blue, red, white mid-range deck. I've known ever since my first article where I talk about the 5 best cards in Standard, I've known that Geist's Same Draft is probably where I want to be, right? Like, that's just the best card. Oh, he's so good. And like, I just didn't know how to build around him. I just couldn't figure it out. So I was testing all these different builds. I was trying all this different stuff. And I ended up the day before States with this deck. And I hope you like this format because I like putting my decks up like this and I want to start doing it more often. So anyway, so I have my deck like this, right? It looks just like this. And I took it to F&M, and I got crushed. I did the worst I've done in F&M in years. Like I've been playing Magic for more than 1 year. Anyway, I won 3 drop. Like, it was just embarrassing. The deck just wasn't doing anything for me. Like, when I played Geist's Same Draft, I would win. I would crush. But if I didn't draw him, I just couldn't do enough. But I really liked the deck. Like, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I knew that these colors were what I wanted to be doing. I just couldn't figure it out. Gosh dang it. I was so bummed. I was so nervous. I was so down. And, like, I didn't know what I was going to do. And so that night, my buddy Hayden, sorry about that, my buddy Hayden came over to my house. Because he was going to play in States the next day, but he lives up in Ogden. And so, so anyway, so he came over to my house, and he drove home with me, I should say. And on the way home, we swung by Game Haven, because we were going to pick up a deck for him for States. He was going to play Zombies. So I'm at Game Haven, and my buddy Adam is there, and Adam is like the legacy god. Like, he is awesome at Legacy. He has every Legacy deck. He has, I don't know, 32 Force of Wills and 18 Volcanic Islands, and the guy's nuts. He's great at Magic. He's a fantastic player. And he's really good friend of mine. He's really he's just awesome. And he was there. And so we got to talking, and I don't know. I don't even think I brought up my deck. Maybe I brought up that I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. But he mentioned that he wasn't going to be able to play in States because he had some church things going on or something. He just wasn't going to be able to play in States. And he was really bummed because he had a deck that he really liked. And he showed it to me. And it is this deck. Whew! And like, I'm looking at this deck and I'm looking through the cards and I'm like, this deck looks so much better than my deck, Adam. Like, this is so good. And I just knew that I had to play it. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm playing it. That's the end of things. Like, sold. I knew I was going to play the deck. And it is sweet. So I took the deck home. I played 2 games with it. Went to bed. Woke up the next morning. Went and played States. It was awesome. I wish I had played the deck for like a week before, so I knew it better. Because I definitely made some mistakes during States that cost me my top 8, probably. So anyway, let's talk about the deck a little bit. So it's obviously Grixis Control. Nicol Bolas is huge. He's a beast. He's so good. Let me just tell you guys. I just want to tell you. Like, there were maybe 2 or 3 games where my opening hand was like 2 lands, Desperate Ravings, Nicol Bolas, and then some other stuff. And I was like, keep. Like, Nicol Bolas is so good. He was just unbelievable all day long. And like, I'd like, play Jace, and I'd like flip, and I'd flip like 2 lands, Nicol Bolas, and I'm like, Nicol Bolas, it's gonna be a good day. Like, I just knew, it was just, what an awesome card. Sorry, I'm so excited because he's so good. So I play this deck of States. and I had 2 losses and a draw. So my first loss was to Black Red Burn, which is that Black Red Zombies deck, the Rakdos aggro deck that also had Vexing Devils and Brimstone Volleys, which they have Bump in the Nights, Searing Spears. He just burned me, and I just couldn't keep up. Both games he 2-0'd me, and both games I stabilized. Finally, I wiped his whole board, no cards in hand, but I was at like 3 life, right? So like stabilized. I just couldn't quite stabilize against him. So I was pretty bummed. He was my first loss. He ended up top 8ing. He's awesome. He's so good. So then the next round, I played against a Jun Deck that really wasn't doing anything, but I just couldn't kill him. Like, the one thing I noticed that I didn't like about this deck is the threat density is low. So if they're able to deal with your things that can kill them, they only need 6 ways, right? Because Jace isn't going to kill him. Well, unless they ultimates, but anyway, so it's like 2 Tamio, 2 Nicobolas, 2 Olivia Broadlaren. That's how I kill them. And like, so against decks that have like 4 Dreadbore, 2 Museum Mortars, it's like, well, good game. Like, I can't beat you anymore. So he had like 3 Underworld connections going anyway. Like, so the first game ended up going like 40 minutes, and I made some misplays. I made some terrible decisions. And then he ended up winning. I probably could have won, but he ended up winning because I forgot that he had Keswick Wolf Run, and so in play. He had it in play. I just didn't realize it. So I burned her. I can't remember what I did. I burned a Tragic Slip, like during my turn instead of during his, like on a Stranguru Geist or something. It was really stupid of me. But so I lost, and then I couldn't. And then game 2, I played really fast, and I just got him. And then game 3, I just couldn't finish. And like game 2, dude, I let curve. It was like Jace into Tamio, into Olivia, into something, into Nicol Bolas. Like, it was sweet. But so I just couldn't finish, and so I was really disappointed. And then in the last round of the Swiss, I got paired against my teammate Justin, and Justin's like awesome. He's such a good player, and he was playing Bant control. And I knew that like in that room I had one of, if not the best decks, right? Like, I knew my deck isn't perfect, but for that meta and that environment, I knew I had like the best deck in the room probably. Maybe I felt like I did. I felt like my deck was just powerful and nobody was expecting it, and Nicol Bolas was winning everything for me. And I knew that Justin was my only tough matchup, really, besides the burn deck. That was just a different. And against the Jun guy, I should have just played differently. But I know what to do. I haven't lost against Jun since then. I just didn't know what to do. But against burn, that's just tough. But like, Justin was playing Band Control, so we played, and our game 1. And so what happened is we were both X1-1 going into the last round, and there were enough X2s and enough X01s and stuff. Anyway, we couldn't draw it. We had to play, and the winner of our match was going to make the top 8. And I was really bummed because I looked at Justin, he looked at me, and it was like, whoever wins this match is going to win this whole tournament because both of our decks were just perfect for the meta. The meta was full of Jun aggro everywhere, or Jun midrange everywhere, and like his Band Control deck just slaughters that. And my deck, I played against Jun maybe 4 times that day, and except for the one I drew, and only one game when I drew, the other games just crushing. Like, I just crushed everybody. Like, I knew I could win, and I knew he could win. So we sat down, and it was like, whoever makes it here is going to win states. And then the fiasco happened in the top 8. But so game 1 took maybe 45 minutes, and that was the game that I learned, like, my Jun deck isn't quite good enough. I mean my Grixis deck, it's just not quite there. Because he has Thragtusks, Angel of Serenity, he has Planeswalkers just like me, he has Sphinx's Revelation. I just couldn't get there. Game 1, like I said, took about 45 minutes, and it was very close. It ended up being that I had 1 card left in my library. It was a Jace. I knew because I had Desperate Ravings. Not Desperate Ravings. Shoot. I had done other Jaces, and I had Terminus. I knew the bottom. I knew what it was. So anyway, I had Jace left, and I had an Olivia in play, and he had 2 Thragtusks and 2 cards in hand, and like, we both had infinite mana, right? I had 1 card left in my library. He had like maybe 8. And I knew that I had enough mana that I could ping both Thragtusks, take them, untap, draw my card, and kill him. That was it. It was like 1 swing I had to kill him, and I could do it. And he had double Terminus. So I couldn't beat him, right? Because I would draw the Jace, then play it, and then like maybe play the Olivia, but then like if I could draw the Olivia, play it, I just couldn't. I needed 1 more draw step. I just couldn't beat him. Double Terminus. He's a fantastic player. I was very disappointed that I didn't make top 8, but that's all. Anyway, so then I played the same deck like the next Monday, and it was the same thing. I crushed everybody, and then I lost to Bant. Same exact situation. Not the double Terminus, but like the game went 45 minutes. Game 1, I just couldn't quite beat him, and he had answers for all my stuff, but I had answers for all his stuff. But he just has that inevitability a little bit more. He just has more threats than I do, and so after 45 minutes, he finally got me. And we went to game 2, and I really had to go to the restroom, and so I just scooped him and let him win and whatever. So Grixis is awesome, but it's not quite where we want to be. Mike Flores thinks that you should be playing Rakdos Return in the main and Cyclonic Rift in the main, and I agree. I agree with Rakdos Return. That card is awesome all day long. It was in the sideboard, and I would have played it in the main. So anyway, so that's Grixis, right? So then from there, I didn't know what to do, and then I saw the Japanese list online of red, blue, white midrange that had won their national, their states. They won a big tournament in Japan the same weekend as states. Oh, and the deck, guys, the deck is beautiful. The deck is gorgeous. I suited it up, and I've only dropped one match so far, and until Saturday. Don't count this Saturday. Anyway, I've only lost one match the whole week with it. And I played in a bunch of tournaments, and the deck is so good. And this is the deck. I knew from the beginning. I felt kind of proud. It's kind of a funny feeling with this deck. I knew from the beginning that Geist Saint Draft and Red Blue White was what I wanted to be doing, right? I knew that. You can go look in my articles. I'm like, Geist Saint Draft, best card in Standard. I'm trying to brew these red, white, blue decks. I just couldn't figure it out. I'm just not a brewer. And the Japanese figured it out because they're super smart. And I love this deck. I love it. I live for this deck now. It's so good. And it's so funny because, I felt like I had secret tech on everybody. Because nobody in my metagame knows about the deck. And it's not like I'm secret about it. I tell people and let them play against it. I let them look through it. Nobody knows about it. Nobody's figured out this deck, though, right? So I'm just going through all these tournaments, just crushing everybody I see. It just felt awesome. It's just such a good deck. It's just so powerful. It does so many good things. And it does exactly what I want to be doing. Now, I want to clarify here for a second and let you guys know that I try these different decks, Control and Red, Red, Blue, and I have this Jun Deck I'm building because I'm a player that I really do want to be playing the best deck in the format. I don't just want to play... I know a lot of players who they play a deck that fits their style more, and that's important. If it's important, it's definitely important, right? If you need a deck that fits your style, then obviously you need a deck that fits your style. It's redundant, right? But I wanted to try to avoid that if I could, and not so much try and find a deck that matched my style. I mean, if it exists, I'll take it, right? But more, I wanted to play the best deck if I could find one. And I think this is the best deck. I think this is it. It might not be, for right now at least. Because not a lot of people are running Cavern of Souls. And so 4 Dissipate in the main deck, 2 Essence Scatter. Beautiful. I love it. So I played everybody, crushing everybody with it. And it's just a sweet deck. It's just sweet. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I love the deck. So anyway, so I got this secret deck, right? I'm so proud. Going everywhere, crushing people. People don't know what's happening. Thundermouth Hellkite is just tearing them up. And then Todd Anderson, stinking Todd Anderson, right? Not in a good way, but he plays this deck, his version of it, whatever, at the Star City Open. Oh, you spoiled my secret, man. And 2 of them top 8'd. And I was so happy because I was like, nobody knows about my deck. I felt... for the first time, not the first time, but maybe the first time, I felt ahead of the curve. I felt ahead of the metagame. The Grixis deck, I felt like that in States. But this one, I really felt like it. I wish I had played this in States, right? Nobody was ready for that deck. And, I felt ahead of the metagame, right? And I felt like I was ahead of what other people were doing. I felt like people were falling behind me. And I was like, yes, I am ahead of what's happening. I'm prepared for everything. And then Todd Anderson top 8s with it, and so does another guy, and it's like, oh great, now my secret's out, now people know about it. So it's fine. No, I joke, right? Obviously I'm not mad that he top 8'd with it. I think it's fantastic, and it just gives testament to how awesome the deck is. And I just get bummed because I'm like, oh, it's my secret, But it's a sweet deck. I totally recommend playing it. So this is my updated build. My take on the deck is that Thundermouth Hellkite is just nuts. He's just nuts right now. So I decided I want to play 3 because I always want one, if not 2. And being able to end of turn Restoration Angel, and then they Mana Lake it, or not Mana Lake, they syncopate it or they dissipate it, and I'm like, yeah, okay, untap Thundermouth Hellkite, eat it. That's awesome. And don't forget, guys, that Thundermouth Hellkite taps those flyers when it comes into play because someone had a Vampire Nighthawk out, and I end of turn unsummoned it so that I could untap and play my Thundermouth Hellkite. And I felt really foolish because I only got 1 attack in that way because then they played him again the next turn. Luckily, I ripped Angel because I'm the best, right? But normally in that situation, I should have saved the unsummon. Obviously, because Thundermouth Hellkite will tap it. But so the moral of the story, I want 3. Detention Sphere, sweet. Probably don't need 3 of them. Maybe 3's a little bit much. 2 seems great. And then so Todd Anderson played Syncopate instead of Dissipate, and that's fine. That seems good. Like I don't know. I haven't tested the Syncopate version yet. I haven't had the time. I haven't had the opportunity to this weekend, but I would like to. It seems awesome, but I really like Dissipate too. I actually thought about playing that Counterflux instead of Dissipate. Dun dun dun! Because Counterflux can't be countered. That's the big reason. I don't care about the overload, but the can't be countered part is awesome. Because I noticed a lot of times against control decks, they would just wait until they had mana, because like the mana, I only have 24 lands, right? But like I don't have all the lands all the time. So like a lot of times they will just wait until they have 7 or 8 mana, and then they'll just play like a Tameo or a Jace, and then I counter it, and then they counter back, and I don't have the mana to be able to counter again. I just, until they win the counter wars like that. But if I Counterflux would just stop that from happening. So I don't know, I thought about that, but I haven't tested it yet. I want to test it online. But in the end, the moral of the story, this deck is sweet. So I recommend playing it. Now another deck that I brewed while I was at work, this is, I'm just going to warn you in advance, this is a brew. This is just me watching the Pro Tour and learning from their Jun decks and seeing if we can apply it in Standard. So this is a Jun deck that I brewed. I think it's really strong. I think it's fantastic. I think something that people do with cards like Deathrite Shaman and Lotless Troll is if they can't use every mode of what the card does, then they don't want to play the card at all. And I just don't think that's I don't agree with that. I tried to play Lotless Troll like back before this set even came out. I was proxying decks and testing. I tried to play him in a Jun deck, and it was like, and the big thing I noticed was I didn't want to discard creatures to him, so he was just a 2/1. And in my mind, it was like just a 2/1. Like, that sucks. And so I ended up cutting him. But now I'm starting to realize you don't have to pitch cards to this guy. You can. Like, if you have redundant cards you can't play or whatever. But, heck, he's a 2/1 that regenerates. That's pretty beastie. He blocks Geist Draft all day. He doesn't add a removal. Like, a 2/1 that regenerates and doesn't die is really powerful in this format. And once they get... Like if your opponent gets like a Thragtusk, then you pitch one guy to him, you pitch your extra Deathrite Shaman to him, now he's a 3/2, now he can kill Thragtusks. And like, that's really strong, I think. Now I haven't played this deck yet, right? And also, same thing with Deathrite Shaman, right? People say, oh, you don't have fetch lands like you do in Modern, so you're not able to get a turn 2 Drops Messenger like you want to. And I understand that, and I accept that. And I think that it's still worth playing. I think that I have 2 Evolving Wilds, so every now and then I get lucky, right? Maybe I get an activation out of him. But really, he's just an awesome guy. I think that I will be using his other 2 abilities like crazy. Like crazy, I'll be using his other abilities. I think he's fantastic. He's so powerful. He's so strong. He's so good, and he's good against every deck, right? I was looking at this Jun deck that took 2nd place at the Star City Open. They had 4 of him in the sideboard, and I was thinking, and I was talking, and I was like to my coworker, and I was like, what do you think they bring in Deathrite Shaman against? And we kind of started naming decks, and we were like, well, I'd bring it in against a mid-range deck. I'd bring it in against the Frights decks. I'd bring it in against the Control decks. I'd bring it in against aggro decks. Now I bring in like zombies, right? Not humans, but zombies. And we were like, wow, that's everything. Like, you might as well just play the card in the main deck. It's awesome. So this is an idea for Jun that I had, which is obviously a lot more creature heavy. It's basically just playing all the best creatures in those colors. A whole bunch of 2-for-1s, a whole bunch of creatures that are really hard to kill. And just trying to overpower them. And then, having a strong late game and a couple Rakdos returns, and then just eating them up in Castle Wolf Run. I really like the deck. I think it's really powerful. I can't wait to give it a shot. I should be playing Moto pretty soon here. I should be getting some cards on there in the next little while, and I'll record some matches. Anyway, that's what's happening in Standard, and that's what is happening with me right now. And I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Check out the Utah Magic Invitational. It's going to be awesome. And thanks for your support. Leave me comments, leave me feedback down below, and I will try to fulfill your requests if you want them. Mucho lobo. Bye-bye.